Good afternoon. We're going to get back working on Dashkin. So we got to compile our project and get started here. The first thing we're going to be doing is setting up some toggles here for our rotate to match ground. Basically, we're going to be switching this on and off based on the different states that we're in. So we're going to need some functions that we can call to do that. So I'm actually going to change some of these things as soon as we get this built. Basically, going to set up functions to mess with these as opposed to just having some new properties. Morning, or yeah, good morning, Karakan. We are just gonna fix a few things with the ground rotation. Basically, just cleaning up some of the code, stuff like that. Basically putting some functions in there so it's easier for us to, whenever we kind of hook into enabling or disabling the ground rotation, then we can actually run some logic to fix what we want. So let's check out our files. Start getting this stuff done. And after I work on, I'm going to try to get to a good stopping point here with working on the abilities. And I'm going to start working on the visuals for the game. It's starting to become a bit of an issue for us. We need to get the visual target correct for the game in engine, and it's not there yet. Like, we got the characters up there, but we're having some trouble with the environments. So Adam and I are going to try to work on both ends of that problem. So we'll be figuring out how to use, like the Unreal Material stuff. We're going to be learning how to use the post-processing stuff. And we're going to be researching just a lot of stuff that I really don't know how to do or have not done for quite a while. Either way, hopefully it'll work pretty nicely. But I don't expect it to be simple. I don't know, I feel quiet today. Alright. Well then, finish it. So let's go to our rotation stuff here. So let's see, our current angle is our pitch. Alright, so basically what we want to do, if we update our rotation and we set it to false, what we're going to want to do is snap. Alright, so we just want to say update rotation 0.0f right here. Alright, let's do that, and then let's compile that, make sure it works, and then we'll hook up our blueprints to use it. Alright, cool, Kirkin. This might take just a little bit here to compile. And this class has just gotten out of control. Just completely just nuts. That's okay though. It's working just fine. Alright, let's pop open our blueprints for our player. Let's make sure that they compile. Alright, and we need to go to Bitey's movement states. Alright, so let's pop open all these. I swear I was using some of these somewhere. Maybe not. Maybe I took it out. So, we need to do a few things. We probably should switch to a level that's not so... not so hard angled. If we switch to something like the beautiful corner level, basically when he's walking and standing and things like that, we shouldn't rotate him. We also probably want to set the angle for his maximum rotation to something reasonable. So let's do so. Let's make a variable. Let's call it max rotation angle. And let's compile it. Let's set it to like maybe 30 degrees. And let's get it over here and let's say it is set max ground rotation. So we will set that inside of our initialization for our movement controller. Alright, and which states, so when we are crouched, so when we crouch we definitely want to be able to adjust our angle. So we're going to change the on enters for all these things to do like unlock and lock for ground rotation. So look at the movement, unlock ground rotation. And let's check out all these files. Alright, so our dash state, on enter we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do this unlock ground rotation, except, yeah, we should lock to the ground when we're dashing. That's definitely true. Alright, so we got that. When we're in the air, we don't have to really do anything, but we might as well be explicit, I guess. I guess we already have it in code that if we're in the air, it just doesn't matter. So let's not put anything that we don't need. Let's just put what we do. So in the running state, we're going to be doing the same thing. We're gonna lock to our ground angle. So unlock ground rotation. Alright, buddy, sprint. Alright, let's see. Excellent. The base state we don't have to worry about. Stationary state. Alright, the stationary state we're going to lock the ground rotation. Alright, cool. Got that. We want the trot state. And I think we'll unlock it for trot. And for walk, I think walk we're going to lock it for walk. There we go. And I think I also want to change the movement controller, the walk speed. We're going to change that to 10. And let's see how that looks. Did we not get the dash state? There's dash, unlock ground rotation, run, unlock ground rotation. Alright, looks like it's just not set properly. Ah, yeah, these are wrong. Alright, so we'll go ahead and do that. And I think one of the other things I might want to do instead, I'll try this out real quick. But I probably want just a little bit of ground rotation for all the states. So, like, we want the lock and unlock to work properly, so let's go ahead and do that. But I think we want some stuff in there so we can rotate a little bit. Because like when we're sprinting or whatever, we can rotate a lot farther. And yeah, that looks a lot better. So only open up maybe something else real quick. Maybe the cave? Alright, so I think that's pretty good. Alright, so I guess I'm gonna try to launch into the next task then. I think I'll go ahead and check in that work then. Let's finish it up. So ground rotation is there, we have those things set up. Alright, cool. So let's go ahead and just check in that we have the rotation kind of fixed out. So the next thing that I want to look at is so the question is, I've got a list of things. Basically, I'm going to make my own beautiful corner map. And I'm going to need to make a list of things that I need to look correct. That we're going to need to make and experiment with. And I'm not really sure where to start. So this could be kind of a wandering series of things. So make a new folder. I'm going to copy the movement test level. Actually, I'll copy the camera test level. So let's change this. This is going to be visual tests. And let's change our settings so that we start on that level. Alright, let's make sure we got all this stuff loaded. Alright, so this is the visual test level. And let's just get rid of a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, so let's add a light. Just a simple directional light. So we have Bitey in the void. Alright. So let's see, what do we want to attempt to create? So let's make a list. So things that we're going to want to kind of put together. We're going to need a background. And why don't I try to recreate something from our concept art? So let me just pull up some of that. Okay, so maybe we should use this as our concept for what we want to create. So why don't we look at this scene real quick and see, kind of list out what we need for this scene to look like it does. So we're going to need a background of light blocking trees. We're going to need, God rays. We're going to need a, there's some mountains in the background. So faraway mountains. Looks like multiple layers. And there's also a faraway tree layer, I think, back there. Alright, we got like this kind of tunnel effect of trees. So let's say going into background, we've got, maybe I should put the light blocking trees and the god rays under that. We've got a waterfall, kind of an in-place waterfall. We've got the water hitting the surface of a river. We have a river going into the background. Let's see, we have these little edge detection ripples. So ripples along the edge of water and land. Let's see. Let's continue to break this down. We have a lot of different lighting here that's kind of like, we have things that are lit. It seems like it's kind of lit from the foreground forward, and then everything is dark. So like, you can see everything nicely, but then like it goes to black, which is, so there's like light here being reflected out from the river and illuminating the area based on kind of the gap that's going to be right above the river. Everything else is dark because there's no light penetrating the dark forest. So I guess that's going to be, we need light bloom is probably... So it's basically like there's some sort of post-process volume or something that is surrounding this area and making it so this area is lit nicely. Alright, we have... in the medium background, kind of we've got these trees placed along the edge on top of rocks. We have big blocky rocks. I mean, these things look just like they were made by civilization almost, because there's so many straight lines on it. Like, you wouldn't think that's worn down rocks. Those are like, you know, big geometric chunks of rocks, like crystals. Like this was a boulder that got just broken or something like that, right? We've got moss and... Well, the interesting thing about this picture is, like, this is not... These don't look like just clumps of grass. Like, that's moss, and it's not... There's not a whole lot of it. Like, while Brackenwood is very lush, these rocks and etc. are just pretty bare. Like, there's not much on it. There's just, you know, smatterings of plants. There's a lot of green, right? But it's kind of big clumps. Let's see. We've also got these kind of small areas here, like that you can see. There's like little tunnels under rocks. So the water land interaction includes small little tunnels under rocks. Alright, so let's look at the water reflection is quite blurry and washed out. We have a water reflection. The reflection includes sky. It looks like the foliage is there, but the foliage isn't there almost all the place. It looks like it's really just the ground that's kind of dark. Like, I don't see the tree getting reflected in here. It looks like there's not too much detail on stuff like trees in the water, but there is quite a bit of detail in terms of the, you know, kind of the general idea, kind of the big angular chunks. And we got this, the water is moving, like the water feels alive, right? Like you'd expect this to be very much distorting. So water reflects, water reflection is very distorted. Should be moving. Alright, another thing, we've got these God rays, and there's also particles in the God rays. Like, there's a lot of little stuff that's getting illuminated. Are there any other details that are jumping out at me? Alright. Just struck me it'd be really cool, like if we wanted to show off some of the visuals in Brackenwood, if we wanted to set up some vistas, sort of things that you'd look at. Like if you transitioned into an area and then Bitey's actually like moving around back way in the back here, that would be pretty baller. But that would be much more cinematic. I don't know how much we'd be able to do that in the actual game. Alright, so in order to make our void look like this, what the hell are we supposed to do? Well, let's do an awful job, right? Like let's make, you know, the worst absolute piece of garbage representation of this in Unreal that we can do, like real quick. So let's slap it in there. Let's make, actually I want to duplicate this map and do like void, empty void. So let's build it and all that. Alright, good. So now we have our void. So I need to figure out what the hell we got going on for. So we'll see. So where did everything go? I guess they're in the obstacles. So we've got like a rock. But this rock is like a 2D flat, horrible rock, which is not what we need. Like it was very clear that we need 3D objects after the lighting explorations and things like that. So none of these obstacles are actually good. So where the hell did all those pieces of stuff actually get made? I guess I should open up the. Let's open up a second editor. So I'm going to detach Visual Studio here, and we're actually going to boot up a second editor real quick, and I'll have the other level open in a second editor so I can take a look at it. I don't know how to open two levels at the same time in one editor. So, but if you open up two editors, you can point them at different levels, and you can do stuff like copy paste files or copy paste assets across levels, and that's the only way I found to actually do that. So let's go to our prototype levels. Let's go to not the beautiful corner, but the new one that Adam's been working on. We'll grab the grasslands stuff. And yeah, so we're trying to recreate this little scene here. And let's grab the big rock boulder thing. Let me see, where are these boulders? Like, where are the static meshes? He put them in geometry meshes? Okay, so everything is in there. And then obstacle meshes. We have a boulder and brambles and stuff like that. Alright. So we're going to dual wield editors. Get on my way, Visual Studio. I don't need you right now. Okay, so if I throw a boulder in here, so let's see. For our scene, I'm going to need the camera to be actually a little farther back to actually see this properly, I believe. So this is going to be bitey, far away camera, or zoomed out. And we're going to change this guy from bitey player to bitey zoomed out player. I don't really have everything super set up right now for transitioning between cameras inside of blueprints. Inside of this retry. Alright, so this, we're going to use the zoomed out player. Let's grab our zoomed out camera and let's put our ortho width, let's put it 10,000, and then, yeah, we're just going to put it at 10,000. So when I hit play, I'm zoomed out. Alright, so let's go ahead and try to make this scene a little bit, you know, let's make a really poor version of it, but let's make it. And we'll just slowly, you know, do what kind of we need to. Doesn't look far enough in the background, does it? And I could try sculpting the terrain, but we're not going to do that right now. So I think let's actually kind of throw this out back here and see if that works. Still too close. How far away does this need to be? A little bit farther. Yeah, that's looking a lot more like what I want. Alright, so I need to create some stuff that will allow me to move stuff out there. Well, let's just make some kind of boulder configuration chunks that we can kind of copy paste a little bit around. Yeah, stuff like that's looking a lot nicer. So we'll just kind of copy paste this chunk now in order to create more little sections. And let's just get it all the way to the back. And the idea basically is if we can recreate this concept piece inside of Unreal, then that gives us, you know, an idea of how we can do what we're trying to do. No, this part is wrong. This part needs to be bigger, but also smaller at the same time. It needs to be connected to the foreground. Yeah, that feels better. Alright. Alright, then we're just going to basically basically do the same thing over here. So let's see. See, what we need on the left here is this needs to be kind of flattish and all that. And we're not able to see it too well, so how would we put all that together? I guess it needs to be farther in, like this. Somewhat, yes. Yeah, and that's starting to look a lot more like that. We need kind of a jutting out crop here, but I kind of like these faces. So we need is some more of this, actually. And all those rocks back here aren't really doing us anything after that. Alright, I'm pretty happy with the rocks for a... So what we want next is water.